Hey everybody, welcome to Weight Loss for Women Over 40. Today we're talking about why this way of thinking is keeping your weight stuck. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Nikki T, and I am your host of Weight Loss for Women Over 40. This podcast is near and dear to my heart. I feel like, I'm going on fifth, is that right? Fifth year? Hard to believe. Anyway, I started right before COVID hit, and I'm not gonna lie, there's been some moments where it can be challenging to pump out a podcast, but I am so grateful that this is reaching so many people across the world. And just a little background on me if you are new here. If you Google me, Nikki T may not come up because I just kind of switched my name around a little bit. I just got done a divorce, so I took my maiden name back, which is Turnay. So if you Google Nicole Simonin, which is my married name, you're going to find a lot of information on what I've been up to for the past 23 plus years. So I started my business in 2006. I became a personal trainer in 2002. I was known as the boot camp lady or in my area. I still run into people that are like, "Oh my gosh, I used to take your boot camp class. It was so much fun." And slowly over the years, my business has evolved into coaching, which is what it does now. And it is mainly focused on mindset coaching and understanding the way our brains work and why we are stuck with this weight that we keep dragging around year after year, decade after decade. I taught the whole dieter's mentality when I first started because that is what we were taught as a personal trainer, as a health coach. It's just what has been ingrained in the fitness industry. And I don't agree with it anymore. I feel that there's a lot of mindset behind what we are doing in order for us to accomplish that weight loss goal. And if you don't have your mindset up first, it doesn't matter how much exercise and calorie counting and all that stuff you do, you could lose it, but you will gain it all back because you haven't set your mindset up. So the starting line begins in your mind for lasting weight loss. So I am so glad you're here. Again, we're going to dive into why this way of thinking is keeping your weight stuck. So, what is this way of thinking? This way of thinking is all or nothing thinking. I'm sure you have heard of it. Perfectionist, all my type A ladies out there, my fellow type A ladies. I am also pretty much type A. I feel like in certain areas I may not be, but for the majority, I was a professional ballet dancer back in the day. Perfection was everything. Like it was all or nothing. It was you either did four pirouettes, even if you did three and a half, it didn't count, right? So this all or nothing thinking is very pervasive in the health and fitness industry, especially when you're dealing with diets. Like you can't have carbs, you can't have fat, you can't have this, you can't have that. You have to work out 6 days a week for 9 hours a day, and like all this, it's usually very grueling, it's very time consuming, it's very heavy feeling. Or you don't do anything at all, right? There's no gray, there's no in between. And this is where we get into trouble. This is where this mindset of all or nothing thinking leads to burnout, it leads to quitting, it leads to stopping because, again, you think it's either one way or the other. And there's, again, a lot of gray. There's always options. You always have options available to you. But our brains don't like to think that way. Our brains are like, nope, it's either A or B, nothing in between. Be on to yourself when this comes up and ask yourself, are these my only options? To eat the cake, not eat the cake. You could have a bite, could have half the cake. You could share it with somebody. You could take it home and freeze it. Like there's so many options. And we don't always think that way because again, dieter's mentality has been ingrained in our brain. Now, with this all or nothing process, I also think there are perfect times to implement all or nothing. And I teach this inside of my Crush Your Cravings course, which is inside the Jumpstart program currently. And one of the examples that you could use for all or nothing thinking, where I do feel like it benefits you, is when your body gives you signals of whether you're hungry or not. When you're having physical hunger signals, you ask yourself, am I feeling hungry? Do I need to eat in this moment? And if you're crystal clear of yes or no, yes, I'm going to eat, then you go eat. If it's no, then you go on about your day until you decide you do want to eat. Like that is very crystal clear and it's super helpful for all or nothing thinking. The all or nothing problem happens when you're like, I feel really sick and I should go work out. Stop shooting on yourself. You don't need to work out. You could do something low key. You could rest. You could listen to your body. There's so many options. All right. So just know that I feel a lot of the times in the dieter's mentality, the all or nothing thinking does not serve you. It gives you a lot of shame. It gives you a lot of guilt, right? But there are moments in the process when all or nothing thinking is to your benefit. And like I said, this is in my Crush Your Cravings course. Actually, if you want access to it outside of the Jumpstart program, it is inside the Jumpstart program. But if you want to grab it separately, go to weightlossforwomenover40.net/crush. It is currently available separately. I don't know how long I'm going to leave it up there, so go grab it now if you want that. Super great course on how to navigate your cravings. And it's not like you never get to have the yummy food ever again. You can eat the yummy food. So don't think it's like you get them out of your life. It's not anything like that. So, the second thing is really embracing your progress instead of perfection. Perfection is really, it's such a high standard that we set on ourselves. And if it didn't come with shame and guilt, it probably would excel us tremendously. But unfortunately, it comes with a lot of guilt and shame. Why didn't I do that? Why didn't I hit that? Why didn't I hit my goals? Why am I still losing or why am I still gaining weight? Why am I not losing weight? Like all these shameful thoughts come up about why you're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. And it's fine to strive for it to an extent, I feel, but sometimes it's just easier to not have that standard put in place. So we've all heard the saying, enjoy the journey. And I love this analogy. I give it to my clients all the time of like, so I live in New Jersey, and if I wanted to travel to California, I am not driving from New Jersey to California, and the whole ride I'm going, holy crap, I can't wait till I get to California. I can't wait till I get to California. This land sucks. I can't believe I made a left turn. I can't believe there's a stoplight right here. What is it? Okay, we're setting road rage aside, right? You don't complain the whole time and then you get to California, you're like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. No, you enjoy the journey. You enjoy Pennsylvania. You enjoy Ohio. This is going to show you how much I know my geography. You enjoy all those mid states. You enjoy whatever road you're taking to get out there. I think it's Route 40 goes straight out there. No, is it Route 40? Anyway, but you enjoy the sun coming up. You enjoy the birds. You see the buffalo. You see the cows. You see all the things, the cities that you go through. Like enjoy the ride. Enjoy the process. Because if you just enjoy getting to California, you've missed out on that whole learning process of what is going on in the rest of the United States in that drive. It's the same thing when you go about your weight loss journey. We always want to get to that goal. We always want to get to the body that we want. And I get it, but you have to learn the skills along the way to maintain that body, to have that body. And that's where the mindset work comes in. So the other thing too is when you go to drive from Jersey to California, you kind of anticipate there to be some speed bumps. There might be some construction. There might be some stuff going on. There might be a big old buffalo in the road that just doesn't want to get out. Or like the other day, I saw a bunch of geese, Canadian geese, just hanging out in the middle of the road, just waiting there. People are beeping their horns, trying to, get them to move, but they're not moving. It's not going to be perfect. When you drive there, it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect on your weight loss journey, for sure. And actually, I encourage you guys to make it as messy as possible because you don't want it to be perfect. Again, going back to Biggest Loser, I always bring this up. Biggest Loser, where they went to the ranch, they had a bubble where they could lose weight. And then they get out in the real world and I forget the percentage, but it's really low. Like most of them have gained back all the weight. When you do it messy, when you do it with problems, when you lose weight while you're on vacation, when you're having holidays, when you're dealing with deaths in the family, when you're dealing with birthdays and all the things, when life is quote unquote normal and calm, it's a piece of cake. You got it nailed down. And want the problems to come up, want them, especially if you're working with me. You want to experience everything while you're working with me because I can coach you through it. I can help you navigate around it and give you the tools that you need. So that way, when you decide to go off on your own, then you have all the tools that you need. So the other part too is, and I'm all for mindset, and mindset needs to be set up first. But you don't actually learn anything until you do something. And I get this. Like I am a planner. I love planning things. I love it's to me, it's it's so much fun. So much fun to plan, to decide on a goal, to again plan, lay it all out, right? But until you actually implement it, you're only hypothesizing. You're only guessing at what could happen. And again, as you go through your plan, you tweak, you navigate, figure out what's working, what's not working. And you won't see the outcome unless you are taking action or inaction, because inaction is also a result as well. So if you find yourself sitting on the couch when you keep saying you want to go work out, like that's an action. It's an inaction, but you're still doing stuff, right? So go through the process, enjoy the process. Now, I like to kind of play this game a little bit where I kind of go back and forth. So, depending on how I feel about my goal, so say my goal is weight loss. And some days I'm like, yeah, nailed it, done. It's not a problem. I get there, piece of cake. It's easy, simple, all that. And then there's some days where I'm like, okay, I have the tools. I'm not sure. I don't know what's going on. Right? Can you relate to that? the what I like to do is when you are in that mode of like, yeah, totally nailed it, got it, stay there, juice it up, amp it up. Like, yes, I can't wait to try on those clothes. I know I'm going to feel great and get into that embodiment of what that lean body feels like. But those days that you're kind of struggling a little bit on your belief, just go to like, what can you believe? Do you believe you can lose 1 pound? If you believe you can lose 1 pound, that's awesome. Even if it's a half a pound, even if it's like a quarter of a pound, doesn't matter. Whatever you believe, hang on to that because you have to lose 1 pound at a time to get to your goal weight. So if you believe, say you have 30 pounds to lose, and you don't quite believe that you can lose the 30 pounds, but you do believe you can lose 1 pound, you lose 1 pound at a time. So week one, you're in my program. You know you're going to lose weight anyway if you're in the program, but you're in the program and you're like, yes, I believe I can lose 1 pound. 1 week down, you lose 1 pound. Okay, next week, I believe I can lose a pound. Week two, now you're down another pound. You get the premise, you just keep losing 1 pound at a time until you get 30 pounds. So here's another example for when you're working out. When you're in that moment when you're like, oh, nailed it, can do the workouts, it's not a problem, juice that up, right? But when you're in those days where you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I want to do it. I always tell my clients, just start with 5 minutes. Just tell yourself we're going to go for 5 minutes. And then after 5 minutes, you can stop if you want to. It's not a problem. Because what happens is you've made now the decision of like, all right, I'm going to do 5 minutes. Because most of the time your brain can wrap around 5 minutes. And if you can't, do 1 minute, whatever you can wrap your brain around. When you start going into the 5 minutes and you're like, oh, this wasn't so horrible. Maybe I'll do 5 more minutes. Same thing with the losing 1 pound. It's just, excuse me, in a time increment of, if you feel like you can do 5 minutes and you get to 5 minutes and you're like, oh, maybe I'll do 5 more minutes, right? And then maybe you have a 10-minute workout or maybe you have a 20-minute workout. Again, you have to play with your brain to get it on board, and eventually it will become easier because eventually, say you start off with a 5 minute thing and you do that for a month, right? Working out 5 minutes because that's all your brain can handle. When you hit month two, chances are you'll be like, oh, maybe I could do 10 minutes. And it will multiply, it will snowball, right? You keep adding to it. So I have a journal that you can have access to that is 50 prompts to identify where perfectionism is showing up in your life. It is currently available inside the Jumpstart program as a bonus inside the Mind Over Metabolism course. So if you want access to that journal prompt, go join the Jumpstart program. You can join at weightlossforwomenover40.net/jump. On the day that this podcast is coming out, which is Friday, March 21st, I believe, I will tell you the Jumpstart is on sale. So go there on Friday and get your patootie in the Jumpstart. Again, the link is weightlossforwomenover40.net/jump. All the links will be in the show notes. But again, on Friday, there will be it'll only happen on Friday, and then it goes back to regular price on Saturday. So if you want to get in, that's the day to get in. And you're going to get the 50 prompts to identify where perfectionism is showing up in your life, and it'll be super helpful too. If you are not ready to join the Jumpstart program, it's not a problem. Keep listening to the podcast, but you can also go download your free copy of 5 Reasons Why You're Not Losing Weight Over 40. It's an ebook, and you can find that at weightlossforwomenover40.net/book. And lastly, if you are on social media, come follow me over on Instagram at Weight Loss for Women Over 40, or you can find me over on Facebook at my personal page, whatever it's facebook.com, Nicole Ternay, Ternay. Again, the links will be in the show notes. So I hope this was super helpful for you today. Remember, it's all or nothing thinking has its place, but a majority of the time, you have tons of options. You have lots of things that you can choose from. And if you need help with that, definitely get in the Jumpstart program, and maybe I'll see you over on the social media side. All right, have a beautiful day, weekend, week, and I will talk to you next time on the podcast. Take care.